Chapter 1. Remember your covenant promises, for the land is full of darkness and violence. Emerton. Again, Mama says. The lack of emotion in her voice is evident. I inhale. My nose fills with the sweet smell of the soil, my face pressed against the ground. I ball my hands into fist, shoving dirt underneath my fingernails. The sweat on my skin leaves a clammy and dirty feeling all over my body. The metallic taste of blood coats my tongue. I spit a wad of saliva mixed with blood onto the soil and rub my tongue over my teeth, just to be sure I haven't swallowed one. I push up to my knees, my arms quivering with exhaustion as I do so. My matted black hair sticks uncomfortably to my face. You know, this would be loads easier if you would wait until I have my talisman, I say, through spurts of staggered breaths. The wind is almost non-existent tonight. I would give anything for some type of breeze to soothe all the cuts and bruises. Under normal circumstances, I could call the wind to comfort me, but I can't focus long enough to use any energy at all. That would make you dependent on it. Mama walks around my shaking body in long, ethereal strides. Her body hovers ever so slightly above the ground, careful not to let her golden heels sink into the soft dirt. Her pale blue gown drags along the ground behind her. You have to be stronger than other Pearson protectors. I press my teeth together and my jaw clicks. I am stronger. Then get up. Feel the energy in the earth beneath you, in the air around you, and use it. Draw it into your body and direct it through you. I curse under my breath and push off the ground into an upright position. The list of reasons just keeps growing, doesn't it? It's over 100 already, and I've only been keeping track for the past 3 weeks. All the reasons to use everything she has taught me to kill Mama and finally be rid of her. Something inside me swells, causing the wind to return and toss my hair violently around my face. My knees threaten to buckle as I stand. I wipe the blood from my eyes and forehead to face Mama. She looks at me with a slight grin on her fair-skinned, freckled face. I bite my bottom lip. The smallest thing Mama does brings the list to the forefront of my mind. Reason number 97. She's got weak genetics. I may have gotten Dad's beautiful amber eyes and flawless skin, but standing next to Mama, it doesn't seem like enough. Case in point, my dull, wavy, black hair, short legs, and ashen brown skin, in stark contrast to her. Her fiery red-orange locks, slender legs, and vibrant blue eyes able to freeze a man's heart. Okay, so maybe a person's beauty shouldn't be the reason they need to die. But in Mama's case, this is only one reason out of many, so I think I'm valid. Good, says Mama. Without warning, Mama flicks her hand and shoots out a wave of energy that sends me flying backward until my back slams against a tree trunk. A startled breath escapes my throat. I slide down the trunk, the jagged edges of the bark scraping up my back as I return to the ground. My face contorts into a snarl, a low growl resonating and warmth flooding into my cheeks. Stop it, Mama! I strike the ground with my hand. A deep vibration comes out of my hand and into the ground. The shockwave extends out in front of me. It doesn't stop until it hits Mama. It's not enough to knock her down, but enough to get her attention. She gapes at me. I think she's both impressed and stunned that I managed to hit her. That's more like it. Mama tilts her head to the side and readies her stance between us. Do it again. Use your anger. It's not anger. My back stings from the fresh cuts from the tree, but I don't care. I push up off the trunk with a little more strength than before. It's hatred. Mama smiles again, tossing her hair over her shoulder. Even better. She doesn't waste any more time. She shoots another energy wave at me, without warning. Only this time, I block her with an invisible shield between us. The shield deflects the energy back to her. She dodges and counters again. A whirlwind of water appears from the movement of her hands and launches toward me. This time, my shield shatters and I'm hit with a torrent of water. I scream and lose my footing. The force of the water pushes me toward the ground. My arms flail wildly against it, but Mama doesn't give even the slightest opening for me to compose myself. Again and again, I'm hit with waves of different attacks. I cover my face with my arms as balls of flame, water, wind, and earth come flying at me from all sides. Get it together! I open my arms for a split second in an attempt to strike, but Mama beats me to it. She swivels on her feet and jumps into the air, kicking a final blow of energy at me. I scream in anguish as my body collapses, unmoving on the ground, finally making Mama stop. My body is vibrating and pulsating like a giant heartbeat. Blisters are bubbling up on my skin from the flames. Please make the shaking stop. I pull my knees into my chest, my arms outstretched on the ground in front of me. Before I know what's happening, a soft cry escapes my throat. Stop it. Hold it in. But my tears flow out faster than my feeble will. Mama walks toward me and stops inches from my side. You need to get up now. Just leave me alone. My voice quivers from the tears and that stupid feeling in my throat. I want to sink into the ground and never be heard from again. Mama's training has been relentless for the last year. Every single day. No breaks, no rest, no mercy. Each session always ended when I was either unconscious or managed to impress her. All for a purpose, protecting the earth and a race of people who enslaved my family. Such a poor excuse for a calling and a life. Mama nudges me in the side with her foot. The top of her heel digs into my ribs. I smack her foot away and sit up on my knees. Okay, I'm up. Happy now? Mama crosses her arms. I won't be happy until you are the very best protector that has ever lived. The elder Effany has rejected every Pearson we have presented to her, including me. If she's going to choose you to be her vessel, you need to be strong. I sigh, rubbing my face with my hands. I know! It's all you ever say to me. Surprisingly, Mama sits on the ground beside me. Her face is stern and inches away from mine. I struggle to maintain eye contact with her, unable to shake how uncomfortable it is, especially when I'm crying. Never let anyone see you cry. If you think that our training sessions are hard, you're in for a real shock, my love. The stronger you are, the easier your life will be. The curse of the Lauremont family is all-consuming, and our mission to protect them and the earth is dark and powerful. Stop being weak. Mama reaches out and grasps my face. My body reacts instantly, but she holds on tighter. I flinch at Mama's hands, traipsing along my skin, and close my eyes. I wait for the worst to come, but it doesn't. Instead, a cooling sensation radiates from her palms onto my face. What are you doing? Healing your wounds. You've had a pretty intense session today. I shake my head, marveling at Mama as she works. I don't understand her at all. 99% of the time, she treats me like trash, our lives together consumed by her keeping secrets from me. Not to mention, spending the last 12 years grooming me to be a protector of the earth in Lauremonts. The only good memories that I have are my first memories from when I was 3, when my dad, Audie, and even Shaw were still here. After Dad left, nothing was the same. Everyone left me after that. Mama made sure of it. Why? Isn't having me a broken and bloodied mess a part of the plan? The passing of powers is in 2 weeks. You need to be healthy for that. Besides, you'll be bound to Shaw for life. Life will be far easier if he likes what he sees. I gasp lightly and smack away Mama's hands. You're healing me so that I look appealing for Shaw? As usual, Mama's face is devoid of empathy. To think I was holding on to the idea that one day I'd get a thank you for your extra years of freedom. Most Pearsons are bound to their Lauremonts much younger. My heart pounds uncomfortably in my chest. You want to thank you? I say, drawing out every syllable. For what? Locking me in a cellar and forcing me to learn dangerous and impossible energy manipulation? For taking away everyone I loved? I have nothing to thank you for. You've gotten more of a childhood than anyone in our family. But you're not a child anymore, Emerton. You are 15 years old now, and you are about to enter into something a child cannot handle. Unlike the rest of us, you are actually ready. I hid you away to make you ready. You're clinging to memories of your father and friend, but they could never accept you for what you are. Tears form in my eyes again. How do you know that? You never even gave him a chance. He promised me he'd come back for me. Mama puts her hand on my cheek. That is not the way our family works. Stop looking for him. Stop waiting. After the passing of powers, you will be bound to Shaw in body and soul, cursed with obeying his every command. My chest tightens. I don't need her to elaborate. After seeing her interactions with Shaw's dad, Cyrus, I know exactly what she means and the horrible life I'm in for. You know everything that the Lauremonts are capable of, even things you won't tell me about yet, and you're still willing to sign your own daughter's life away? Your life was never mine to sign away. Mama tucks my hair behind my ear, then she stands. We're done for the day. Get cleaned up. Mama walks away from me and back toward our large estate in the woods. Reason number 1 again. She has never once told me she loves me. Damn it all. Why did I have to cry in front of her? I drum my fingers against a tree trunk. The grass underneath me is wet with the evening dew, but I don't care. The cool moisture is comforting after my session with Mama. Audie should have been here by now. I sigh and lean back against the tree, resting my head on the trunk. I'm thankful that Mama ended our session early tonight. I had a chance to actually enjoy a bath and get out of our manor without raising suspicion. A rustling through the trees makes me sit up at attention. I squint my eyes trying to see through the darkness. I breathe a sigh of relief when Audie's small dark face smiles at me through the leaves. I hold up my hands to signal him to stop before he gets too close. Right there, I say. Any closer and you'll cross the barrier, and Mama will know you were here. He nods and pulls his bag over his head, laying it beside him as he sits down on the grass. He smiles at me and I scoot closer to him, the dew causing my pant legs to get wetter. My eyes graze over Audie's body. His chest is larger and more muscular. His bright orange shirt and dark pants hug his body, revealing the hard-cut lines of his broad chest and thick arms. You look good. Audie looks down at his body in surprise, then back up at me, grinning wildly. His eyes glint brightly in the moonlight. I've always loved those midnight eyes. Thanks. My training as an agent wrapped up about 6 months ago. In a few weeks, I'll be drafted to be an agent of the human unit of the Luxian army. I nod. Wow. And to think just a few years ago you had the biggest fear of butterflies and now you're a specialty agent. Audie scoffs, tongue in his cheek, and shakes his head. Ouch. But you've got to admit, the way they hover over you is mildly terrifying. So what happens after you join the unit? I'm sure there's not much to do in the city, being so close to Cornelius. There's not a lot of crime that happens in Corin, is there? No, not really. We mostly work to keep order. You know, making sure all the species are adhering to the laws and meeting with Luxian expectations. He stretches his arms over his head, flexing his newly formed muscles. It's a pretty important job. Oh, I'm sure it is, I say, laughing. I pause. I've missed you. Audie's eyes widen. He clears his throat and situates his large frame to a more comfortable position. I've missed you too. Only seeing you once a year is not enough. Thankfully, though, I get to see you on the best day of the year. He fumbles in his bag for something. He pulls out a cloth pouch and holds it cupped in his hands. Happy birthday, Emerton. I smile back, balling my hands into tight fists resting on my knees, trying to hide my embarrassment. Audie, you didn't have to get me anything. Besides, you know how much I hate my birthday. I know, but I also know that this year has probably been the hardest for you. If I can't do anything else, at least I can get you a gift. Please accept it. He places the gift on the ground and uses a stick to slide it over to me. I whisper an incantation to remove his presence from it before I pick it up and open it. Inside the pouch is the most beautiful stone necklace. The stones glow a bright orange, its material translucent, revealing a million tiny crystals inside each stone. I hold it up to the moonlight to admire it more clearly. My eyes are stinging, but I refuse to cry. Instead, I ignore it, almost angry that he even dared to get me a gift. Are you going to put it on? He asks, grinning at me. I sigh, placing the necklace back inside the pouch. I pull the drawstring shut and toss it back to him. I can't keep this. I definitely can't wear it. Mama would see. So what? He struggles to keep his voice level. She doesn't deserve to. Did you find out anything about my dad? Audie's jaw tightened at my abrupt interruption. He sighs, looking down at the ground, his thumbs rubbing against the fabric of the pouch in his hands. No. I checked all of the human cities and towns in and around Corin, and no one has ever heard of him. And who's to say the little your mom told you was the truth? I have known Audie since I was about 2 years old, and he was 5. We were best friends from my earliest memories until I turned 5 and Mama hid me away. We lost touch for about 3 or 4 years, but thanks to Audie's resourcefulness, he found me again. I scrambled to my feet, pacing back and forth, the leaves and grass crunching under my feet. He can't just not exist. Mama didn't spawn me all by herself. He has to be somewhere, or Mama wouldn't tell me to stop looking. We'd meet in secret, and Audie would tell me about all of the wonderful things he was learning or doing. One day, Mama found us. She almost killed him. For whatever reason, that didn't deter Audie. Instead, he promised me that we would continue to be friends, and made a vow to come see me every year on my birthday. Maybe your mom doesn't know. What if she's just messing with you? About 3 years ago, when the reality of almost becoming a full protector got too scary, I asked him to find out any information about my father's whereabouts. Unfortunately, our search had amounted to nothing. What if he isn't an elemental? I say, ignoring that Audie even spoke. What if he's human? And that's why she's ashamed to mention it. He can't be fey or sprite, then it'd have wings. Emerton, says Audie sharply. I stop my pacing and face him. He sighs. Don't get upset, but why are we still doing this pointless chase? Why are you still spending your time looking for someone who left you, someone who didn't want you? I hate when he says don't get upset, because I'm extremely positive he's about to say something that will send me over the edge. I try to keep my voice steady, afraid that I'll scream at him or cry. Leaving wasn't his fault, just like it wasn't your fault. Besides, he made me a promise. I get that, but maybe you should focus on getting out of your protector bond and on someone who has been there for you since the beginning. He pauses, eyes locked onto mine. Someone who actually loves you. My heart skips a beat. Love? No one loves me. There's no one like that. He laughs and rubs his face with his hands. I didn't know I'd have to spell it out for you this much, but okay. He clasps his hand under his chin. Emerton, I love you. I've loved you since the first day I met you. I wave him off, returning to my frantic pacing. Don't say that. Audie stands as well and moves in a bit closer, still conscious of the invisible barrier. What do you mean, don't say that? You can't be in love with me. I'm already purchased and sold to this damned earth in the Lauremont family. But you don't have to be. I laugh loudly, hand on my forehead, shaking my head. Right. Why didn't I think of that? Silly me. I must be choosing to be magically bound to the Lauremonts. Audie sighs, his hands extended toward me. I didn't mean it like that. I know your situation, but Emerton, there has to be a way out. If we just focus on that instead of trying to find her dad, we can... I cross my arms. So are you going to save me then? Audie smiles. I gladly would if I could, but you don't need anyone to save you. You're stronger than you think you are. I don't even have to tell you that. It's part of the reason that I love you. You don't need anyone. He pauses and takes a moment to stare at the ground. His shoulders rise and fall dramatically as he takes in a deep breath. He's not coming back for you, Emerton. We're running out of time. If you don't do something soon, you're going to be a prisoner of the Lauremont family for the rest of your life. Just tell me what to do to help, and I'll do it. You can't sit around waiting for him anymore. You see me one day a year, I snap. Don't pretend you know my life. Audie's jaw twitches and a hurt expression washes over his face. I know, he says in a small voice. And I haven't just been sitting and waiting. Finding my father is important to me, but I pause. I have a backup plan. What is it? Because from the looks of it, you're still playing by your mother's rules, scared to death that she'll find out I was here. Audie acknowledges the invisible barrier around us. I steal a quick glance over my shoulder. I wonder if Mama knows I've gone. A jolt in my stomach makes me angry. Why should I care if she knows or not? Yes, it could put Audie in danger, but besides that, what right does she have to make me feel guilt for wanting my freedom? I turn back to Audie. Is it your goal to piss me off? I need you to wake up, Emerton. You don't have a backup plan, do you? We stare at each other for the longest time. I can't tell Audie my plan to kill Mama. He'd never be okay with it, and I don't need a guilt trip planted in my head. I don't want to wimp out when it's time for me to do it. It's a makeshift plan at best. Even with all the training, Mama is still stronger than me. He's not gonna come and take you away from all your problems, Audie continues. You have to do it. I flinch and back away when Audie walks toward me. I hold up my hands. Stop! What are you afraid of? Audie doesn't stop. Right as I am about to hit him with a wave of energy, he has me by both of my hands and pins them into his chest. My cheeks flush. It's been such a long time since I've had any contact with anyone besides Mama or Cyrus. Audie strokes the back of my hand with his thumbs, looking down at me with a foreign look of love and admiration. I have dedicated my life to helping you find your freedom, by being and doing whatever you need me to be or do. It's time you started fighting for it too, and letting people in. You don't have to be alone. I wrench my hands from his grasp. I thought about hitting him or pushing him back behind the barrier, but instead I decide to wrap my arms around his waist and pull him into a hug, surprisingly, completely comforted by the warmth of his body and the beat of his heart. His arms wrap firmly around me. Well, that was a surprise, he says. He strokes my cheek with the back of his hand. I turn my face away from his hand and step backward. I don't like to be outsmarted, and somehow it feels like he bested me. I have another birthday present for you, if you're up for it. I raise my eyebrows, not sure if I'm able to handle anything else tonight. Up for what? He steps to the side and gestures toward Corin. Its cityscape of streetlights and stone buildings painted on the sky in the distance. My eyes widen. Leaving? Audie, you know I can't. He presses a finger lightly on my lips. In 2 weeks, everything changes. Can you let me do something for you without worrying about your mom or the Lauremonts? Just one time. He seems so desperate. The call of the city skyline is inviting. Audie's expectant gaze is practically boring into the side of my face. Behind me, I look toward our estate in the woods. It's completely hidden by trees, but Mama's essence is hard to ignore. Though there is something in my heart telling me to go home, the presence in the air is beckoning me forward into the city. Audie, Emerton, please. This seeing you once a year stuff is absolute torture, and now I probably won't even get that. Let me show you a taste of a life you may never know. If we can think of a way to get you out, then great. If we can't, at least you can be free for one night. I shake my hands out at my sides. Fine, let's do it.